Eldoria seemed like a paradise. Lush forests bordered sparkling rivers, towering mountains pierced the sky, magic pulsed through the very air, but this beauty hid a dark secret. Eldoria was a kingdom of illusions, ruled by the cunning King Alaric. He used powerful magic to control his people's minds. The people of Eldoria believed they were living in a utopia. They didn't know their lives were a carefully crafted lie. King Alaric wanted it this way. He thrived on their ignorance. He believed it was easier to rule a content populace oblivious to the truth. King Alaric boasted of Eldoria's abundance. He held lavish feasts in his opulent palace. Tables overflowed with exotic foods and sparkling wines. But this abundance was another illusion. Only the wealthy elite enjoyed the kingdom's riches. The common folk toiled endlessly in the fields. Their reward was meager rations and exhaustion. King Alaric used magic to cloud their perception. They saw abundance where there was scarcity. They felt satisfaction despite their empty stomachs. King Alaric controlled knowledge in Eldoria. He believed ignorance kept people docile. Education was a privilege, reserved for the chosen few. Critical thinking was discouraged, seen as a threat to the king's authority. History was rewritten. The king's triumphs were exaggerated. His failures were erased. The people of Eldoria knew only what he wanted them to know. They were trapped in a cage of their own making, the bars forged from ignorance and misinformation. King Alaric promised his people security, but this too was an illusion. He maintained control through fear and intimidation. Dissent was not tolerated. Those who dared to question the king's rule vanished without a trace. Fear became a way of life in Eldoria. People whispered in hushed tones, afraid to speak their minds. They avoided eye contact, terrified of betraying their true thoughts. The illusion of security came at a high price, the freedom to think and speak freely. Lyra was a young woman with a thirst for knowledge. She worked in the royal library, surrounded by books she was forbidden to read. One day, curiosity overcame her. She opened a dusty volume hidden deep in the stacks. It spoke of Eldoria's true history, a history vastly different from the king's version. Lyra was shocked. The words on the page contradicted everything she had been taught. Doubt crept into her mind, a seed of rebellion planted in the fertile ground of her curiosity. She realized the truth. Eldoria was not a utopia but a gilded cage. Section 6. The Resistance Rises, Breaking the Chains of Illusion. Lyra shared her discovery with others. She found kindred spirits, people hungry for truth and willing to fight for freedom. They formed a resistance, meeting in secret to plan their rebellion. Their goal was simple but daunting: to awaken the people of Eldoria and break the chains of illusion. The resistance spread the truth, one whispered conversation at a time. They taught people to question, to think for themselves. They distributed pamphlets exposing the king's lies. They wrote messages on walls, bold declarations of defiance against the oppressive regime. Section 7. The Drought, Reality Bites. A devastating drought struck Eldoria. Crops withered and died. Rivers ran dry. The illusion of abundance shattered. The wealthy elite, accustomed to luxury, hoarded what little food remained. The common folk, already struggling, faced starvation. But this time, King Alaric's magic failed. He couldn't conjure food from thin air. The reality of their situation became impossible to ignore. The drought, though devastating, became an unlikely catalyst for change. Section 8. The Fall of Illusions. The king is naked. The people of Eldoria, their eyes opened by hardship, rose up against King Alaric. They stormed the palace, their anger fueled by years of oppression and deceit. The king's illusions crumbled, his power waning in the face of their righteous fury. King Alaric, stripped of his magic and his lies, was exposed for what he truly was, a tyrant clinging to power. He was overthrown and banished from Eldoria, his reign of illusion brought to an end. Section 9. A New Dawn, Embracing Truth and Self-Determination. With King Alaric gone, Eldoria began to heal. The people, freed from the shackles of illusion, embraced truth and self-determination. They established a new government, one based on principles of equality and cooperation. The road to recovery was long and arduous, but the people of Eldoria had learned a valuable lesson. True freedom comes from knowledge, courage, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. Eldoria, once a kingdom of illusions, was reborn as a beacon of hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to break free.